got the tea? What's the tea?
We got the tea. Sip real smooth, come vibe with me. Sacred teas, that frequency. Blue magic, you gon' feel so free. Blue lotus, mango, peach, oolong steam. Little ginger, hibiscus in a team. Hot or cold, float right in the dream. The wise elder, roots run deep. White lotus, elderberry steep. Burdock, dandelion for the cleanse. Ginger, honey bush, so soothe begins. Hot cup, calm, cold brew, bold. Either way, let the wellness unfold. Equinox, balance in your cup. Soursop, moringa, power up. Mint leaves cool, pineapple pop. Apple, hibiscus, flavor don't stop. Hot, cold, always refreshing. Sacred tea, your soul's blessing. We got the tea. What's the tea? What's the tea? Who got the tea? Sacred tea, that's luxury. What's the tea? Who got the tea? Sacred tea, that's luxury.
It's tea time with MahMah Tea.
Peace to the gods and goddesses. Was good. Was good. Big Ashe, what's good with y'all?
Peace everybody in the building.
What's good with y'all? What's good? Big Ashe.
I say, oh.
Peace, peace. Peace to the family. We was over here building. We just wanted to share this transmission. Actually discussing archons, and you was basically telling me how archons are restricted to certain locations. That's right. Very, very interesting. Yes. All right, so yeah. Just expound a little bit more on how an archon would have the ability of being restricted to a certain energetic resonance.
So it's anchoring.
Okay.
They anchoring. This is my theory.
Okay.
Can't prove none of this shit. Okay, this is my theory. So, I'm just talking like United States. So in the United States, they have incorporation dates. Mm-hmm. And through these corporation dates, it's the state's birth date. Mm-hmm. And what they're doing is aligning them to certain star systems. Mm-hmm. And then they create their monuments, their state parks, their courthouses. Okay. And they use sacred geometry to harness in certain energies. So the majority of the states in the United States are founded under the sign of Capricorn. Okay. Right? So we're dealing with Saturnian energy. And Saturnian energy binds you. Okay. It limits you, restricts you. It can give support and all of these things. But, the powers that were, they are utilizing astrology and they revert the energy. Mm. So what they do is when they do that, they attract and they call on certain parasitic archons. Okay. And this is what governs the states. Everything is based on the energy of that archon, and this is how things are set up. Wow. So when you travel from state to state, the energy shifts and it changes. So it's my theory that these archons that they're harnessing are under certain jurisdictions. Mm. Mm. Right? That's very powerful. So when you leave out of one place into another, the archon doesn't have that same jurisdiction or power that it has over to the state you just left. Mm. So this is when you travel. I don't know if you ever, I'm sure you have, when you got off the plane, and it's like it feels different. Yeah. The people speak differently, right? They look differently. The energies change. They have their own culture and things of that nature. And I think a lot of that is bound to the birth date that the government incorporated, because this is all back in after their wars and things and that, when the government came and they really started carving up the states. It's like dark magic and sigil magic and things of that nature that they utilize to formulate the encryption. Yeah, basically. Okay. The flags that they use. Are their sigils. Right, and when you just start now, you can look with another eye when you start going to the state buildings, the government buildings. Take a look at how they're laid out. And the monuments and the images that's in front, some of them have gargoyles and stuff that's around, or eagles and snakes, and just take a look. Real quick, I just got to say this. When you said gargoyle, you just gave me a download. Something came to me because
gargoyles were actually utilized as forms of protection. They were not just talismen, but these were dragon entities that actually had the ability of protecting you from entities on different dimensional realms, different dimensional barriers. I was shown recently in a magic mushroom experience that they were adding on gargoyles and all types of stuff because they feared our ascension process and our ability to actually remote view and see into certain areas where they at. Like they fear. All right, so right now, the CIA utilized things like astral projection as well as remote viewing. They have the ability. They've been utilizing it since the Cold War for government espionage. Since they know the power of astral projection and lucid dreaming and remote viewing, this is why they come up with things like toxic metals, lead, cadmium, mercury, etc. Right. So right now, because of the ascension process and what's currently been, since we are accelerating in consciousness and there's more energetic codes being revealed, I've been shown and revealed that they actually have been placing gargoyles and stuff outside the Vatican because they fear our ability to break through some of these psychic barriers that the Vatican used for protection to keep us outside their walls. That was just, I just thought that was interesting when you mentioned gargoyles.
No, absolutely. So what they do is invert energy, right? So you were saying like there was a form of protection. So they can invert, and these are wizards we're dealing with, right? So they understand numerology, they understand alchemy, they understand chemistry, they understand it in a way where they connected to the movement of the planets and the alignments. This is, so if they're the masters of switching calendars and things of that nature, they really understand where the true ley lines are, right? Where the dragon lines are, and things of that nature. So when a star or a planet is in a certain constellation, making an aspect to another planet, they wait for the timing. And this is when they activate. This is when they'll erect a building, or this is when they'll place this gargoyle due north, and place this one south, because now it's harnessing where those alignments were. So every time these planets in the sky rotate and make an aspect to one another, or even the date of their inception, it triggers an activation, right? So this is how they keep things in power, right? So they give us their time, but they're really moving on cosmic time in alignment, but they've learned how to harness it for as above, so below, because every planet, every constellation represents some kind of physical matter in this realm. So all they do is correlate it to anchor it. But we could do the same shit though. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to get into, the solution. I was just about to say that. I was about to say some of the ways that we actually combat the nefarious energies by actually raising the frequency to activate the remembrance in those energetic ley lines.
Ashe. Because we can activate it stronger than they can, because we're organic to the land. So they have to bring down certain deities or entities or parasitic beings, archons, right, to harness and lock things in, where all we need to do is walk barefoot on the ley line, because we hold the code organically. And the difference is we unlock.
Now check this out. What you're saying that was very, it synchronizes with what you said. If you look at the CERN logo, when you talk about how they artificially access different quantum realms, the CERN logo has 666 spent to the side, which is the carbon formula for melanin. So they're pretty much the God particle. In essence, what they're trying to emulate is our melanin, which we can do organically. So if you think about the hydrogen collider, don't have nothing on the pineal gland once it's functioning at optimal level. We can quantum leap, we can walk through these realities, and that's pretty much what the hydrogen collider and all of the technology that CERN is utilizing is trying to emulate, is trying to mimic the God particle, which is the pineal gland.
They mimic everything because they're not organic, right? So the whole game is to keep us from realizing that we are, right? And so they use technology where we are the ultimate technology. So and we can use astrology and astronomy and all of these things, but we are the alignment to it. So when we walk on the ley line under a certain aspect, when the stars are aligned in a certain kind of way, and we're holding an alignment ourselves through our birthday, right? So they make up a birthday to align with their companies and their state or incorporation dates that give them power under that alignment. But your birthday is your powerful alignment.
I say.
Right?
Okay.
So when you look at the planets that you have aligned with, that you were born with, you can overlap your chart over the United States.
Okay.
And then you can see which planet is running through that is connected to you. through certain cities and states and towns and sacred sites. And if you go there, because you were, let's say for instance, your Pluto is in the 4th house, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. So the 4th house represents the house of the ancestors, right? Mm-hmm. And Pluto represents transformation and alchemy. Okay. So when I lay over your chart, and if your Pluto runs over, say, Mount Shasta, okay, and you go there, you have a higher chance of resonating and alchemizing that energy stronger than any of their machines. Because with Pluto being the 4th house of ancestors, or on your IC, it will say that your lifetimes may have originated over there. You've been there many lifetimes. And those are ley lines. Those are ley line, dragon line. Yeah. And so your code that you're holding, your DNA codes, whether it's through your saliva, your sweat, your tears, your blood, or your imprint, just your hands and your feet, the land will respond to you naturally, and you will get more ancient codes that it will deliver back to you, and you will get the confirmation through nature. That's right. And see, one of the things that they know this is why they utilize certain deceptive technology to pretty much throw off our harmonic connection with Tiamat, such as 5G, 6G, and 7G. All of that is utilized to distort what's called the Schumann resonance, which is that vibratory resonance at 7.83 hertz. The Schumann resonance recently has been spiking. It's been increasing. Schumann resonance is actually tethered to our circadian rhythm, all right? So again, this is why there's so much omnipresent radiation around us. Everywhere you go, they have the cell phones, the tablets, everything around us as far as, the 5G, 6G, 7G. I even recently heard they got 10G somewhere now, all right? And this whole infrastructure we know is implemented around the time they had us indoors during COVID. All right, so they had us indoors. They told us to stay 6 feet apart. And then at that time when we were indoors, they implemented that infrastructure for 5G, 6G, and 7G. Not only did they do that, Bill Gates, while that was happening, purchased 272,000 acres of farmland. And then they took out all the seeds and then perverted the agriculture. Yeah. So this was a whole biological attack solely because they know what we're becoming. They fear this ascension process. They know that the sun is transforming us. They know Red Kachina is here, which is the purifier. They know that we're in solar cycle 25, right? Which means that the 11-year solar maximum, we're in that cycle now. So this is the time of cosmic activation. Right. And they fear that. It was real interesting when you mentioned, you said 783 hertz? Yep, 7.83. 7.83. So when you add all of that up, right, you get 9. What do you get 9? Do you get that? 7.83. 15, 6 plus 3. Yeah, you get 9, right? So the 9, this is what I always do. When I hear numbers, I break it down to the single digit because each number from 1 to 9 resonates with a planet. Okay, right? Okay. So 9 resonates with the planet of Mars. Okay. So Mars rules activation. Mars also rules the blood. It rules muscles. Right, and it rules the head. So when you hear these frequency tones or these numbers, when you break them down to the single digit, if you're saying affirmations on these ley lines and you're playing those tones, it's good to say them 9 times or whatever that number breaks down to the single digit. Okay. Right, and you want to say it with force, and when you're affirming, because Mars is assertive, Mars is affirming, Mars is aggressive. And fire, right? Utilizing the element of fire. So the breath, speaking it into, even though it's air, but from the solar plexus is the heat of it. Or even wearing red when you hit these certain frequencies and doing these certain positions on the land. These are the things that you all connect to. So these simple things that we do, these are our sigils. Okay. Right? These are our lot. Holding carnelian, rubies. These are the gemstones that resonate with Mars. Bloodstone, right? So adorn yourself with these things. Once you just break it down, wherever you're going, what resonance is that? Are we trying to activate the Schumann resonance? Because activate itself is to spark. Right? And that's Mars energy. So, Ashe. Yes, and so what you're basically talking about is invoking magic by using the elements. Right? Sure. By basically using the fire, by using things like water. Yeah. And then once we do that, we begin to trigger those energetic codes. Absolutely. All right. And then not only that, now what's very interesting about that is that we actually carry all those elements within us, within our physical avatar.
Solar plexus chakra is the personification of fire. Your physical body is the personification of earth or whatever, because we're earth-born. And then you have a etheric or energy field, which is ether. You know, and then we could talk about water because we're water beings. Absolutely. Right? We're primarily composed of water, so we actually embody all of those elements, which means we're walking magic in essence. Right? So we're magical just in our existence in itself. Let me just look at the comments, see if anybody said anything.
So I have this technique that I have. It's called, I use astrology to determine what kind of grid walker you are. And based upon the placements of your planets will let me know if you're earth grid walker, fire grid walker, air grid walker, ether grid walker, or water grid walker. By if you have an abundance of planets, so whether they're in water signs, earth signs, fire signs, or air signs, and knowing what that is and what that means, these are the elements you should be really mastering, working with. Even the days of the week will resonate with water signs or earth signs or fire signs. Okay. So your astrological signs actually correlate better with certain elements. They're made from elements. Okay. Yeah, they're done, like you're a Virgo. You're an earth sign. Okay. Yes. Right? Yep. Yes. So indeed. Working with that earth element, because your sun is in the constellation of Virgo, which resonates with earth element. Right. And then Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. Right, so Mercury rules the mind. Okay, and communication, right? Communication. Okay, in the mind. That explains why I rhyme and stuff like that. I said. So, but when it's in Virgo, it takes on a practical application, and you need formulas. You break things down because all the planets of the zodiac rule 2 signs. Okay, except for the sun and the moon. Okay, right. So Mercury rules Virgo as well as Gemini. Okay. The difference between Mercury will change its essence in Virgo because Virgo was Earth. So Mercury becomes more earthly. Okay. But when it shifts over into Gemini, it becomes air, and air it becomes more intellectual and cerebral. Right? Wow. So Virgo needs to make sense of what Mercury is doing, whereas Gemini would need to conversate about what Mercury is doing. It has to communicate more about it. Okay. Right? So that's how you kind of see the difference of the frequency of element. I say. With planet. So now once you understand those elements with this is why you stress the importance of knowing your astrology, because then once you harmonize with your astrology, then you have the ability of utilizing these elements to activate magic on the realm of life. Exactly. And it's not even magic, it's like real. You can so when you learn the elements in your planetary positions, and utilizing the timing of the moon, because it's the fastest moving body in our solar system at the time, around the Earth. It'll go into a complete cycle all around the constellations that we use within 28 days. But that's why I said magic, though, because if you look at the word magic, it represents magnetism. Also, magic could be associated with the divine feminine principle, which then still ties into the moon. Awesome. So that correlates with the natural magic or that magnetism that's needed. And once you have that, then you can attract those elements faster, and you can bring things into and again, they know these things. So now let me ask you this: is this why they distorted the concept of the 13th zodiac and removed Ophiuchus? Hell yeah, Ophiuchus was removed because that's the divine feminine energy. It's the 13th sign, right? Okay. The snake, the serpentine energy, Kundalini energy, right? And when you look at the sigil that they use, or the glyph that they use for Ophiuchus, it's a man holding this thing. He got it harnessed. He's like he's in control of it. He's trying to control it. He's trying to harness that Kundalini. He's trying to stop that Kundalini from flowing. Wow. Exactly. So that's why they suppress the divine feminine. It's the aspect of that creation energy, right? The chaos energy. It's something that can't be controlled. So the whole war is to control her. You can't control creation, right? Creation needs to always be in a state of creation, even if it's through a form of chaos, right? But the whole thing of Ophiuchus, they removed that because they had to erase that divine feminine or the sacred number of 13. Somebody said, I was able to consciously manifest when I figured this out. They confused us with the illusionary calendar. Yeah, illusory calendar. Illusory calendar. Yeah, absolutely. They. But see, the thing is with the calendar, right? It doesn't even. It matters. What really matters is just understanding the movement of the planets, because they're still going to move and they're still going to change constellations and they're still going to make aspects. What you're doing is you're looking at sacred geometry in the sky. So the mathematics of it, it will still align.
Somebody had a question for you. They asked, is Vedic astrology or Western astrology more accurate? What you think is more accurate?
So Vedic that's a great question, because in Western astrology, also known as tropical astrology, they move the placements of the planetary positions 24 degrees ahead. Now, Western astrologers will make the argument that they are following the ecliptic, the movement of the sun along the ecliptic. That's the difference. In Vedic astrology, they're utilizing the fixed star placements. So the planets are actually where they are in the sky. Is it more accurate? You can find accuracy in both. That's why I use both. I don't pick one over the other. I believe in merging the two. Because when you look at Vedic astrology, that's Eastern astrology. When you look at tropical astrology, that's Western astrology. So you gotta, for me, I look at it like the hemispheres of the brain. We have the Eastern hemisphere and the Western hemisphere of the brain, right? You can't choose one over the other, so you need to merge the two. And that's how you get the holistic approach to astrology, by looking at both charts. Because when I started looking at both sides of the charts, it filled in all the missing links to everything that I was studying.
Because a lot of the truth was basically taken and placed in, just like religion. There's a little bit of truth in every book that you can pick up.
Yes.
Like, the Muslims may have certain truths, the Christians may have certain truths, because everything was perverted.
Right.
Oh, I like that view. Gratitude, abundance. Thank you for your answer. Ashe, no problem at all. They're Vedic, but I'm curious what they'll say. I hear Vedic.
Yeah, they're gonna, because Vedic puts the planetary energies where they are in the sky. But here's the thing. Vedic astrology, you can look at the current placements of it, and what you want to do is start watching how the government moves. That's how you can tell which system they're using. Because during the whole thing with COVID, when you look at it, they were on sidereal time. They were looking at the Vedic or sidereal timeline, and then as soon as Jupiter jumped out of Capricorn, right? Because we had a stellium in Capricorn, meaning we have 3 or more planets in one sign. The whole during the COVID, many astrologers knew that something was going to go down, because this is an event that only happens once every 100 or something years, right? When all of these outer planets are conjunct in the sign. Now, when in Western astrology, they were conjunct, meaning they were all together within like 1 degree of each other, less than 5 degrees or less of each other. They were in the sign of Capricorn. Now, Capricorn rules the government, right? It rules the elderly, right? So when you look, it also rules restriction, and limitation, and boundaries, right? So 6 feet apart. Boundaries, limitation. The government locked everything down, right? Then they were in full control. Then they was issuing mandates and all this kind of. They was running them up because Jupiter is a sign of rules protection. It's weak in Capricorn. Wow. So they knew they had to do all the shit while Jupiter's in Capricorn, because as soon as it leaves, it goes into Aquarius. The protection now goes to the people.
So that's where it's at now, right?
No, it's at right now. Jupiter's in Cancer. It stays in one constellation every for a year.
So what's your opinion on what they're trying to do now with the energy?
They running scared. It's over with, because now Pluto. Now the big shift was Pluto from Capricorn to Aquarius in Western astrology, right? We could talk about sidereal or Vedic too. But but we're in the West. Keep in mind, we're not in the East. We're in the West. So this is their timeline. This is why they shift the planets, right? So being that we're in the Western Hemisphere, looking at Western astrology, Pluto went into Aquarius. That is America's Pluto return. Pluto rules destruction, annihilation, but it's a necessary thing in order for the transformation to come through. Chaos, revolution, right? Because it's in Aquarius. Aquarius rules humanity. It rules the populace. It rules people, right? So you have the planet of destruction, transformation, and rebirth in the sign of Aquarius. The government is like, how we gonna, either we gonna have to control it, but the control is actually going to the people. Power to the people. That's the ultimate delineation or looking at Pluto in Aquarius is power to the people. So the government is trying to figure out how can I harness the power of the people.
They want your IG, MahMah Tea.
MahMah Tea, y'all know it's me. Big MahMah Tea, honey. Don't nobody know it's me on Instagram. They think I'm a fake page. There's not a lot of followers I have over there. I'm really not on IG a lot, mainly on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube and TikTok. But IG, I'm Big MahMah Tea on IG. BigMahMahTea. You ain't know it's me, baby. I got to talk and put the old lady voice on for y'all to know who this is.
Yeah, they got it. Yeah, but see, yeah, you got to getting your Instagram popping so people know where you at. So we got to get yeah. You all on TikTok.
Yeah.
Let me see. Somebody asked you about the energy nodes too. They was asking about the energy nodes. Somebody said something. Let me see here. MahMah Tea, Layline nodes. Layline nodes.
That depends on. They're everywhere.
Okay.
Right. They're all over. Right. And so, like we were talking earlier about, you said you did the thing about the mounds and the giants and the mounds, right?
Yep.
Those are nodes too.
Right? A lot of those. So a lot of the mountains and stuff. A lot of the hills and stuff like that are ancient giants.
Especially waterways.
The Titans.
Like when we went up to the hill country, we saw it. We turned the map around and it was the dragons.
And some of them are dragons. Like the Titans are a lot of the land masses and things of that nature that we're walking on are ancient dragons and Titans. The bodies, the decomposing bodies of Titans and some of that. And crystals and minerals even that we collect are parts of their muscles and tendons and organs and things of that nature. So Tiamat, once they slay Tiamat, hey MahMah Tea.
Hey baby.
Once they slay Tiamat and some of the Tiamathians, a lot of her body was scattered all over. A lot of the in the same thing with some of the giants.
Her essence is all through here, and her shapes you can find fragments of the shapes when you get like either Google Earth or the iPhone Maps is better than Google Maps.
Okay.
It has a better like the graphics of it are better and they're more realistic. So zoom out and when you go and you're looking at where all the waters are, little lakes and rivers, begin to look at it with your third eye. And sometimes you got to turn a map upside down, right side up, or whatever, and then you start to see images of turtles, birds, dragons.
You see all the Titans.
You see all of that in the images of the water, especially the water. So those of you who are water signs or have an abundance of planets in water, you hold water codes. And if you're indigenous to this land, go over there, right? Speak to the water, talk to the water, put your feet in the water, feel the resonance. You can get frequency tones on your phone to resonate with the 732 or understand what the just hum. Sometimes you can just hum and sing the vowels A-E-I-O-U because that's a frequency. The vowels are feminine tones and they hold frequencies as well.
Ashe. Now, it's very funny that you say that. A lot of the goddesses are actually receiving a lot of cosmic transmissions when they say they come in contact with the water. All right? Like, my goddess actually received the transmission from Tiamat, where Tiamat actually made her aware of cataclysm is coming. And then the funny thing about it is when we went scrolling, we seen another goddess talking about the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Talking about cataclysms and receiving through water spirits. Because the water is a portal, and it does communicate with us. For those that are unaware of Gabriel Oyibo, he was the one that actually solved Albert Einstein's equation. He came up with God Almighty Grand Unified Theorem. And what he actually proposed is that the only element that should be on the periodic table of the elements is water, because everything derived from water. Everything originated from hydrogen. And originally it was called Afro-Crojan, is what the name originally meant. And if you look at the word hydrogen, it sounds like hide the origin. And basically is what it meant. So they was hiding the origin of where it actually came. And then he actually also stated that this water was a reference to black, which basically reverts back to Kim or melanin when we talk about the primordial waters.
You said his name was Gabriel?
Gabriel Oyibo. He was an African. He was a professor. He was an African professor, or what they call black, so-called black. He solved Albert Einstein's equation. Fully solved and completed it. And nobody talk about him. But the whole thing stemmed from water, basically, and everything deriving from waters, which is very interesting. You know what I mean? When we talk about Tiamat, when we talk about energetic codes and remembrance being triggered through the water. That is very, very interesting. And again, a lot of the gods and goddesses are going to start receiving certain transmissions and downloads due to the Schumann resonance spike and additional energy hitting the planet. What's happening right now is the ley lines are being activated, and as we step out on land, more energetic codes are now synchronizing with us and pretty much activating us. We're all being activated. The more. This is why I talk about stepping in nature. This is why I talk about eating healthy, cleansing yourself, ensuring that you have the ability of transmuting the light particles, the ionizing particles, because the sun is a mutating wavelength. This is one of the reasons why they also utilize deceptive sun simulators. They have a patent for sun simulators. Right now, China got all types of sun patents and sun simulator patents and stuff. Sometimes you go out and you feel the sun simulation on your body. You feel like the difference in the heat on your body. You're like, oh, this shit not real today. Right. This is because there are right now our melanin is a cosmic computer, and your melanin absorbs all forms of light. So they have to throw deceptive light in there to try to keep you from receiving some of those energetic codes that Tiamat is speaking through. Right. So they try to block a lot of that, but with artificial light. But none of that's working. The sun's overpowering a lot of the deceptive simulators that they have. Yeah. None of the graphene oxide. A lot of this is why I tell you the detox, cosmic family. Get to the point where you're utilizing chlorophyll. Things like zeolite, activated charcoal, remove the lead, the cadmium, the mercury from your body, then you will have the ability of actually absorbing the sun. Chlorophyll contains magnesium, so the more magnesium you receive, the more it opens up what's called D3 receptors, which allows you to then better facilitate or copolymerize with the sun's photon light, which then allows you to convert it to chemical energy. So again, it's important that y'all detoxing the body, removing parasites as well. Parasites keep you anchored to the root and sacral chakra. This is why I tell you to clean up your diet, remove processed foods, get to the point where you're eating more healthy and trying to exercise and things of that nature. Right. As the sun accumulates and as the frequency rays on the planet, we got to get to the point where we're getting more holistic and cleaning ourselves up in order to transmute and better facilitate those light particles.
Indeed. You know, it's interesting you said about the gentleman named Gabriel, because in mythology, Gabriel the archangel is ruled by the moon. Wow.
Which is associated with water.
Associated with water.
Yes, the carbon 60 is on my website, Goddess. I do have a carbon 60. For those that just the carbon 60, just for those that are unaware of what that is, it's 160 times more potent than vitamin C. And it's rich in antioxidants. Antioxidants pretty much eradicate free radicals, which are unstable electrons that are the building blocks to cancer. So once you begin to consume a high amount of carbon 60, also is composed of shungite, which creates protection for your cell walls and shields you against things like 5G, 6G, and 7G radiation. My bad, Goddess.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Do your thing.
Thank y'all for everything and the knowledge y'all share with us. I appreciate y'all.
Ashe.
I think it might have been the fake sun. Somebody said, I think it might have been the fake sun. I want to stare at the sun one day and my eyes keep seeing a blue light that keeps moving in my vision that I only can see. No, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's artificial because the sun is composed of light. So a lot of times what happens is those are like fractal patterns you'll see from your eyes absorbing a lot of light. What happens, we only see 0.035% of the light photon spectrum. So when you receive a huge influx of light, a lot of times your eyes have to pretty much compartmentalize all of that light. And it will see it in certain fractals like blue, red, greens, and stuff like that. You will see when you look away. Because we only see the visible light spectrum. But this is why sun gazing is so beneficial, because it actually allows you to then receive more of that light that hits the pineal gland, which stimulates the piezoelectric crystals, which are the magnetites, dendrites, and calcites.
Yeah, the best time to sun gaze is in the morning and sunrise or sunset. Those are the best times because you're getting in a full spectrum. If you notice when the sun is rising, it's changing all the colors of the chakras. And the same thing is when it sets. You start to see all the different colors. So that's the best time to absorb those rays at those times.
That's one trick I do typically when I sun gaze, when the sun is at its highest peak. Is one trick that I learned is I'll sit behind a tree and I'll use the leaves as filtration systems where it's shielding out a lot of the luminosity where I can kind of utilize that a little bit to kind of peek at the sun. And then once I become immune to it, then I can come out farther and farther to where I can see more of the luminosity. But I started doing that and that's what pretty much primed me for becoming proficient in sun gazing.
Sun gazing?
Yeah, that's what made me proficient. I think it might, somebody said it might have been a fake sun. I appreciate you, King. Appreciate you too, family. I've seen the blue, red, yellow, and orange light when I stare at the sun. That's because the sun is like a prism, all right? And just another interesting fun fact about the sun is see, some people think the sun is hot, but it's really just plasma energy. The heat you feel is refracting off of the terrain. This is why when you go closer to a mountaintop, it's colder. Peace, family, peace. When I gaze, I see it spinning really fast. When I sun gaze, it's like tunnel vision.
You can see some people see the black sun. I see the black sun sometimes when I'm staring into it.
Have you ever seen ships and stuff going? Sometimes when I sun gaze and I look deep into the sun, I see what's called EMVs, electromagnetic vehicles, little ships that actually fly in and out of the sun. And one of my magic mushroom experiences, I told you I seen what appeared to be, they look like us, black beings, all right? They was Nubian entities. When they make the concept of talk about black extraterrestrials, when you hear people like Dr. York may mention of black extraterrestrials, or you hear people of Dr. Delbert Blair may mention of encountering these black extraterrestrials, they keeping it a fact. I've seen these entities in transcendental states of consciousness. Sometimes when you stare at the ships, we were staring at the ship the other day, and we seen when we were staring sun gazing at that restaurant, we actually seen a ship outside the sun. It was looked like what appeared to be a mothership that actually was right outside the sun that we seen.
Wow. I see them more at night. Yeah, I see them more at night. Going from one star to the other star. Real high up. They're real high up. Right.
You know that's your cosmos. You know that we have a connection with a lot of these beings. I have a theory. What if it's you looking at you?
I think so. I mean, something going on. Like we're still trying to figure that out, right? Like are we avatars down here sent on missions, right? And it's like you said, it was like a game, and they said the shit seem real, don't it?
Yo,
right?
one of my magic mushroom experiences, I was telling MahMah Tea how I pretty much had a psychedelic experience where I removed the headset. It was pretty much like this whole reality that we're existing in. I was actually projecting from a fifth dimensional overlay. I was pretty much in some higher dimensional realm imagining this reality, me being Strange the Wordplay King, or Holistic Remedies, or Calvin. It was all just some illusion that was being perceived from a higher dimensional construct. And then when I removed this headset, I seen what looked like a ship. It looked like it cost a lot of money to get on the ship. It looked like, and I seen expensive bottles. It looked like we were celebrating and having a good time. Wow. And there was a bunch of people standing around, and it was like, it looked real, don't it?
Wow.
And it was in front of me. It was a huge monitor, where I can see this reality, everything I'm doing down here. So what if from another perspective,
what if TV show and shit?
Yeah, what if we all are on some type of ship and believe this reality is real and it's all some illusion? This is why I talk about, don't worry so much about the money matrix. Don't worry so much about the problems you think are problems or things that are hunting you. A lot of times these are just, we set the game on hard. We gods and goddesses, and oftentimes we set the game on hard when we come down to play on Tiamat. We set the game on hard because we live in royalty. We are cosmic royalty. So we may want to experience a few hardships because we used to just being royalty. Yeah. So we may set the game on hard, but then we may say, hold on, don't set it too hard. Let me shine a little bit, but let me learn a little bit about humility. So I'm going to set it right here at this point in my life where I have to go through something. And then to learn how to transmute that energy. Sometimes we do that from our higher self. We will do that. You know, I believe that wholeheartedly. This is why it's important not to take it so serious. Sometimes unplug from the matrix. You may have to meditate. You may have to go inward.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like when we were having a conversation a little bit earlier, when you just detach, and I was getting to the archons because if you leave this country, there's certain archons that can't go.
Okay.
Right. So this pressure, this constant pressure that we feel in America. People don't feel that shit everywhere. So it's something here. It's heavier here than everywhere else.
They poison us more with the food.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
The more, like right now in Australia, you can get real. The food you get is real.
Anywhere.
The cereal has real ingredients.
You go
anywhere you go.
You know, Central America, the Caribbean, if you can get out for a while if it's a week or 2 weeks. So you can detox. A lot of people leave America to heal, right? Sure. Because we're bombarded. Let you know that we're some kind of special people over here. Because why are you going through all of this? Nowhere else goes through this like America.
I believe that there's energetic codes hitting on us, like you mentioned, the Tiamat's children. Yeah. I believe that this is the soil of Tiamat's children, and I believe we actually hold certain dragon codes and they hinder us with the toxic metals, the poison, the lead, the cadmium, the mercury, the atrazine, the glyphosate. I may mention previously how melanin, when we talk about the study of Kim, this is the study of black. Your melanin is a cosmic computer. Right. I believe that this landmass was a huge eugenics testing facility, and it's different extraterrestrial genetics in us, and this is what the concept of our dormant DNA is. I believe when we talk about the Nagas, that extraterrestrial divine serpent race, that's where the word niggers come from. I believe that landmass was where that divine serpent race was from, and which were offsprings of Tiamat. And I believe that those energetic codes are in those children, so they have to poison us, they have to degrade us to keep us from accessing that energetic signature.
That would make sense.
I believe that.
War is heavy and hard on us since they got over here, right? Since they came here, it wasn't always like this in this realm, on this side of the world, or they traveled over here, and it wasn't for. I don't even think the story about they were looking for land and this and that and the other. I think they knew what was over here. They wanted to come over here for the land, for what the land holds, the people, and created blood oaths and contracts when they married into the bloodlines that were here.
That's a
and
fact.
Subdued it, and then tricked us, and then flipped us, and now we got amnesia, and then gave us a whole new a narrative. Like the Willie Lynch story, there's a lot of truth in that story about how, the experiment that they've done where they kill off the parents and they keep the children. And then if the children don't have a connection to the parents or grandparents, they don't know the language. They don't know their story.
That links in with what happened in ancient Tartaria with the Cabbage Patch Kids, when they talk about how the families were wiped out and there was some kids that were planted, right? Now let's talk about that. When we talk about ancient Tartaria, they say there was giants and everything that walked that landmass. Could have been extraterrestrial beings or whoever, right? But they some even say that they use more percentage of their brain. Like they say we only use 10%, but some say around that time they use about 20% due to crystal healing technology and being better connected with ethereal science. They had more. They used a lot more. And then somewhere along the lines, when an invasion came in, when they talk about the Cabbage Patch Kids, I believe they cloned those kids to completely remove energetic codes that was in them. So they had to make an artificial type of offspring.
Making a new civilization.
The NPCs are non-playable characters. The inception of the non-playable character, the NPC.
And these are the people running shit now. Because think of the age that they're on now, right? Think about this, right? Or the children of the Cabbage Patch children.
That's just the concept of the Agent Smith in the Matrix.
Right.
And then if you look at Agent Smith, he always multiply. He always duplicates. So he spread his toxicity and then create other Agent Smiths, right? Right? So it's a situation where, and all these missing kids, they need more life force to sustain their physical form. Let's see.
Are they talking about the
veil is skipping between physical and non-physical. The veil is skipping between physical and non-physical. I agree. Yes, the timelines are shifting. And this is also attributed to certain things that CERN is doing for Project Looking Glass. They're trying to find an alternative timeline where they win or come out on top, but they can't find it. They're trying to pretty much stop remembrance from being triggered. And those indigenous to the planet that had that harmonic resonance to Tiamat. That's what they're pretty much trying to pervert or destroy.
They're trying to revert. So let me, if I can, for a second, just want to tie that into astrology about retrogrades, right? So when planets go into retrograde, this is their time, because what that means, it means the planet has slowed down in motion, that it seems like it's moving backwards. The planets never turn backwards; they just go slow, just kind of like. If you're pulling up to a bus and the bus begins to slow down and then the car reaches it at the same time, it seems like the bus is going backwards. If you ever pulled up to a car and you be like, the fuck, is he going backwards? It's not that. It's just your speed and their speed kind of, it's a mix in time. And it gives the illusion, right, that it's going backwards. So basically what they're doing is, like I told you, they study this thing. They know that when the planets slow down in motion, and it's called the retrograde, it gives an illusion of time. So this is when they cast their biggest spells, right? Because they are trying to revert time. So what they do is they calculate when was the last time all of these planets was retrograde, and how much power did we have then? Because we want to repeat that shit, right? We want to renew, we want to reignite that. But what they're running into is that the alignments that are happening now, a lot of them haven't happened in their lifetimes.
Okay.
Right? And so they're losing grips. This is why every time they look to see their outcome, it changes.
That's fire. That's
you know
fire.
what I'm saying? So this is a very imperative. Now, there's an alignment, I think, that's terrifying them. And this is where a lot of sisters are getting these visions and these dreams and these premonitions about these water catastrophes and things that they see coming, how Tiamat is angry, and all, these global events that are going to be taking place. They're already happening, but this is one thing you can pinpoint by looking at the transit of Saturn and Neptune. These are heavyweights, right? And Saturn represents karma. And Neptune represents spirituality. So if they're transiting close together and retrograde, seeming like they're moving backwards, it's spiritual karma, right? Okay. And Neptune rules illusion, right? So they're trying to wag the tail of the dog. They're trying to do all kinds of things because where they are placed now, they're in Aries, right? The first sign of the zodiac, the initiative, the beginning. But it's going retrograde, meaning that it's going to go back into Pisces, the last sign. So this is the ultimate alpha and omega that we're watching happening in real time.
Wow, okay.
Now, also, Saturn rules the Earth because it's an Earth sign. Meaning that it was Capricorn, and Capricorn is an earth sign as well as Uranus. Uranus is an air sign, but it's very turbulent Uranus energy. Aquarius energy. But when it goes back into Pisces for the final time, and for the next 30 years, this is not going to happen again for another 30 years. No, it's not even going to happen again in our lifetime. We'll never see this again.
Wow.
Because they're moving out of Pisces, but they're like dancing. This is the last fucking dance, okay? In Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac, and it rules deep waters.
So let me ask you this real quick. Because that's very powerful. With all of this being said, this is going to cause a lot of unstable energies all over, and we're going to really have to ground ourselves. We're going to really have to make sure that
and you're going to have to clear your karma. That's what it's really all about, because what we're doing is witnessing the density that we're holding, and it's because we're the elements.
Right? Okay.
And so the earth is reflecting off of us. There's so much chaos going on in the world. The earth is the tension is causing the earth to make changes, because the reason why we act in the way we are is because the planets are aligned that way.
Okay.
So it's having an impact on us, and we're expressing it. And not only us, the earth is as well.
Wow, that's very powerful.
Yes, sir.
Now, again, I like everything she said in reference to cosmic energy. Now, when we talk about the Perseids meteor storms, when we talk about the conjunction between Venus and Jupiter, all of these energetic sequences that's taking place is causing a lot of fluctuations and remembrance in a lot of us. It's causing a lot of people a lot of you may be having weird or peculiar dreams. A lot of you may be seeing shadow apparitions out the corner of your eye. A lot of you probably are having insomnia. You're probably less hungry. Yeah. These are all ascension symptoms that you're going to notice. This is why I always stress the importance of cleansing yourself, utilization of a parasite cleanse. All right. Most of refraining from processed foods and refined sugars. All right. Again, these things are rich in emulsifiers, which are preservatives that cause cancer. All right. So we have to get to the point where we're refraining from a lot of the processed foods, low frequency activity, and get to the point where we're grounding, because the energy is going to tear you up if you don't. If you don't cleanse yourself, if you're not grounding, if you're not doing all of the necessary things to ensure you're in homeostasis, the energy is going to be unbearable to a lot. All right. Especially with the upcoming solar flares. All right. Now, most are unaware that we've been having X-class solar flares. There was recently a hole that ripped open in the sun, and it's showing that it was shooting X-class solar flares directly at us. A lot of this energy is hitting directly at us. So a lot of people are noticing huge differences. Ringing in the ear, which could be attributed to 5G radiation, but it also could be attributed to the Schumann resonance. So it's important that you're cleansing yourself, grounding, and ensuring that you're preparing for light code activation.
Right. You have the opportunity now to really do the most shadow work you can during this transit. It's because you have up until, let's say, November. If you want to start fasting now until November, in a way detoxing your body and removing a lot of those toxins, because these planets retrograde going into Pisces, which is water. So all that water, that energetic energy, the karmic energy trapped in the water cells, it's time to remove that energy and detox that from you up until November. Because when this November hit, notice October, November, anytime September, October, November is hurricane season. Right? So you got these planets going back into ocean water during hurricane season. Don't be surprised if we're going to start seeing a lot of activity more so than ever. And so this is, it's symbology, or it's looking at the weather is like looking at the weather saying, it's time for me to remove this out of me. It's time for me to purge these toxins out of me, because the toxins are holding karma as well. Some people are emotional eaters, right? So they're eating those synthetic foods, or what did you call those, processed foods? Yeah. Because that parasite that's in them is craving that.
Well, see, when we talk about genetically modified organisms, you got to ask yourself, what is it? What's the objective of this organism? What is it trying to modify? Now, also keep in mind, it's an organism. It's a genetically modified organism, meaning that most of these beings are sentient. This is the concept of manufactured parasitic organisms, right? They don't tell you that. You can put Doritos, some of these candies, chips, all on a microscope, zoom in, and you see the bugs crawling in on it. This is the concept of the genetically modified organism. It's an organism that's designed to go into your body and somewhat try to alter or manipulate your genetic sequence. That's the objective. The objective is to try to manipulate your DNA.
Throw away the bag of chips.
Somebody said, I've been an insomniac since I was 5, but I've seen various visions and seen beings shapeshift.
Chips.
Somebody said, listen to. Yeah. See, I hit you in the head. Black walnut, sweet wormwood, and whole cloves is good for cleansing parasites, or as well as oil of oregano. So, I mean, none of us are perfect. We're also here to have the experience. So some of us may eat certain foods we may not should eat. The thing is, utilization of things like oil of oregano will eradicate parasites in the colon before they have the ability of doing what's called Toxoplasma gondii. Parasites travel through the neural network, all right? They can travel through the genitalia, to the colon, to the heart, and even to the brain, through your whole neural network. Once they get to the brain, that's what's called sister psychosis, where they can manipulate and transform things.
Shelled in.
Yeah, at that point, somebody said.
Even here.
Somebody said real quick. I'm just looking. I'm just seeing some of the comments.
That's smelling really good, though.
You know what I do over here.
For real now.
She's chefing it up.
And I'm like, woohoo! Are we almost done?
See, somebody said I've been an insomniac since I was 5. Somebody said I've been an insomniac since I was 5, but I've seen various visions and seen beings shapeshift and get startled when I communicated with them without using my mouth. Wow. Now that's very powerful. This means you're tapping in. Now those labels like insomniac and all of these different titles, they label us these titles because we are the X-Men. We are the Avengers. We are very powerful. There's a lot of ascended masters in insane asylums and sanitariums right now currently being doped up with medicine because they actually have powers like retrognosis and precognition. They can see things through the future. So they'll get these people. They'll know their powers, and they'll pretty much ensure that they're labeled crazy and doped up with drugs.
Let me tap into that. So if you know your natal chart, right? So you can see all of this while you have insomnia. You can see what's going on too, which is susceptible to having, because you got to look at your 12th house placement. The 12th house placement rules dreams. It also rules sleep, and it also rules the subconscious mind. So whatever that sign is on the cusp, if you can find that planetary ruler, let's say you have Pisces on the cusp of the 12th house, you want to look for where Neptune is, and then that will help you get solutions on how to deal with that and how to help with that. If you're having any kind of psychosis, you want to look at the placement of your Mercury and what it's aspecting. If it's aspecting Uranus, you're going to have to learn how to ground yourself and control your thoughts. And you can practice through writing. That would be great for automatic writing and also channeling. You just can't leave yourself out there, because what you're going to do is open yourself up to other beings to come on in. Because they're waiting for you to reach if you're resonating low, they're going to enter in, because they can't enter in too high. If you seem like you don't have control, they love that, because then they're going to try to talk you into, they're going to enter in and try to take control of you. So learning astrology, because it makes sense of why am I doing this? Why am I like this? Why am I having this issue? It's laid out right there. Your ancestors gave you a cosmic blueprint of yourself. So you can look at this shit and come and find the solution or how to deal with that. And also how to deal with certain foods. Because everybody can't eat everything, right? And some people can eat anything and they're okay. But what you need to do is just understand who you are, how you were designed genetically and cosmically, and then take the corrective measures like that. Take them then.
Yeah, I'll share. No problem, cousin. I see you called me. Yes, peace and love, family. That's why I didn't answer. You see, I'm on live. Peace and love, family. Let's see here. But that's facts. And also, just to tie in something, because the person made mention of insomniac, and everything you stated was 100% accurate in regards to the astrology and knowing those places. That's fire. But it's also certain herbs that work in conjunction with combating insomnia. One, obviously, is melatonin, and another is an herb that's known as kava, that's very great for, and chamomile too. Yeah. Things that will relax you and allow you to pretty much get to where you can access a theta frequency or pretty much calm down and activate your circadian rhythm. Typically, the circadian rhythm is thrown off by certain things that attack the serotonin and melatonin, which causes things like insomnia or creates insomniacs. So another thing that will also help is tyrosine, because tyrosine amplifies norepinephrine, epinephrine, as well as dopamine, which are neurotransmitters. So the more you actually start to consume tyrosine, it would actually balance the melatonin and serotonin, thus amplifying your circadian rhythm, which can help you in that regard. So I highly recommend also getting yourself some tyrosine. That will probably help with that, and melatonin too. I've been scaring the shadow demon that's been following since I was 7 years old with no fear. Wow, that's very powerful.
What they say?
They said I've been scaring the shadow demon that's been following since I was 7 years old with no fear. Now, let me talk about that. Now, when we talk about shadow demons or things that's following you, it's very interesting when we talk about the concept of the Goesha. And 72, when you get into the 72 chaotic forces and 72 angelic forces, some of these beings that you think are demons are just aspects of your shadow self that you have the ability of controlling once you embody both chaos and order. Because we are both. Polarity and duality exist in both of us. Right. So there are certain angelic forces or chaotic forces that we actually have the ability of unleashing. Now, most of those sciences, they demonize. And they say, voodoo and certain things where we can tap into these chaotic forces. They will demonize and say that they're demons. That entity could be following you because it's a part of your shadow aspect that you're just waiting to activate. That it's a weapon that you can utilize. You don't always want to demonize it and assume it's a demon. Maybe it's following you for a reason. Maybe you need to embrace it or integrate with it to see what it's trying to show you. Instead of, because we've been showing a lot of things through Hollywood and cinema, and certain things get demonized because they pretty much try to keep us from synchronizing with these aspects of ourselves. So it's important to not demonize everything. I had 2 dreams of a tsunami over the East Coast in 2021. This talks to the CIA in the Adam and Eve report, where it made mention of cataclysm coming all over the world, especially in those parts. Tsunamis in areas like California, certain areas where it was one dude running around on TikTok telling everybody he was a Christian, but he was running around telling everybody to leave California because of a crazy dream he had, where water coming, and we know Tiamat's waking up. We know the raging waters are resurfacing because of the dragon Layline being activated. So it's a lot of people that may want to get away from those areas where it's heavily, where it's a lot of water at. This isn't fear mongering. It's just, and this is a CIA document. Look up the Adam and Eve document. It's right on the CIA, undisclosed document, where it's revealing all types of calamity that's going to take place on this planet.
Well, it's never been, that's nothing new, right? So we've always had earth changes. The earth we're ending a cycle, right? So this is what I was talking about with that transit with Saturn and Neptune going into the last sign. It's closing out a cycle. And then Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, meaning it's going to start a new cycle. This is going to be a new beginning. Saturn also rules time. So when you're looking at these movements, because they do have an effect on the planet, not just the people, but the earth itself. So when women are having these dreams, or anybody's having these dreams, it's because you could be connected to those planets making that transit. It's triggering your memory, it's triggering your dream state, because you may have have planets in the house of dreams. So now it's sending a message to you, right? So these are the things. This is why people have certain prophetic dreams and things of that nature. And those, because we're warners, right? It's like we're telling you, we're the real weather channel out here. You know what I'm saying? So when these things are happening, it's not to scare you, it's to prepare you. It's to say, listen, if all these people are having these dreams, and you might want to pay attention to that. And then you need to go within and say, is the spirit telling me to shift? Because not everybody, I'm going to say this, it may sound a little crazy. Some people's karma may be to stay there, right? Because the reason why you're on earth is to cleanse and to clear off old lifetimes of karma. And if we look at the numerology, if you believe in that kind of thing, and if this is a 9 year, well, this is a year of endings, right? This is the end of a cycle. Now, some people who, whatever you are focusing on, this will become your reality. So if you're hearing these things and you're always walking into a room where these things are happening, you may want to take that into consideration, and maybe you need to shift. Some people may not feel the desire to shift, or may not feel like, look, I ain't going nowhere. That's okay too, because maybe that's a part of your journey. And some people are there, believe it or not, there are beings in certain places that have codes that are anchors to sway catastrophes. You have a form of protection.
I was going to say that. I was just thinking that download was coming to me as you was talking.
I said.
And you know, because some of us had the ability of doing rain dances, and we had the ability of actually manipulating the elements because we have a harmonic connection with the planet. We're connected with the Schumann resonance, so we can actually, just like we can do all types of things. We are very powerful. I mean, we're gods and goddesses. We can clear the thunderstorms when the clouds is too foggy. Right? I'll talk about things like orgone. When we talk about orgone is an interesting crystal because there was a guy who discovered that orgone and copper, when you fuse the two, actually creates what's called scalar waves that had the ability of breaking apart aluminum, lead, cadmium, and mercury emitted from chemtrails, right? Now, what's interesting about that is once we reach a certain level of consciousness, we can activate the same orgone energy through our auric field, right? This is why they kind of keep us disconnected from nature, right? So in essence, we can clear up the skies and all of that. We are that powerful. We just, the thing is, we just don't believe it. We just have to remember who we are. And then we can actually clear the skies. We can make it thunder. We can summon UFOs. We can do all types of things once we activate. This is why I talk about getting into the higher circuits of the brain. Shout out to Dr. Jewel Pookrum. Yep, you know. Dr.
Jewel Pookrum is the bomb. You know. This is why you should pick up my ebook, Grid Walker, okay? Because when you learn what Grid Walker you are, all the things he's talking about the air, if you're an air Grid Walker, you have the power of the element of the air. Think of all the things, if you're water, you have the power of rain, water, all the earth, earthquakes, things of that nature. We are so phenomenal, and you were given cheat sheets, which is your natal chart, to show you which element you're powerful in. So it's no more guessing with this shit. Like, you can start applying these things and knowing these things. We have all the tones. We have all the frequencies. We have the colors. We know the chakras. It's time to pull it all together. And to help you do that, you purchase my ebook on sacredtea.net. It's called Sacred Grid Walker, and it's the Grid Walker Codex. This is a very easy practical application, especially if you know astrology just a little bit. Or you can get any program just to look up where your placements are. And then you can start activating them. Because I'm telling you, time running out, y'all. It's time to get moving and start doing things and walking on these ley lines to recalibrate them, because it will recalibrate you. And some of us are put here at this time to shift the frequency, because you could be in a position to ward off tidal waves and ward off certain things if you're a water worker and you over there gritting that energy. So you were chosen to be there to do that, especially folks who don't feel like, man, I ain't going nowhere, I ain't tripping on that. Well, you may have a code in you, not just for you to say over there, I ain't tripping on that, but to go over there and activate that water to let them know that you're there.
Ashe.
Simple plan.
And this is why I also talk about gods and goddesses unifying more, and I'm doing more events and actually synchronizing with the collective and things of that nature. All right, I'm actually getting out and stepping on those lands as opposed to the videos. The videos are great and building the information, but now we're getting to the point where we're synchronizing, where we're unifying with the collective and actually throwing events. All right, we have an event September 20th and 21st in Austin, Texas. September 20th and 21st. It's going to be an event. It's called the Sacred Union Retreat. All right, I'm going to be giving a powerful lecture on pretty much escaping the Archon illusion, as well as how to activate your higher self and how to pretty much access the 7 subtle bodies when we talk about astral projection and things of that nature. I'm also going to be discussing the importance of the love frequency. I expressed several times, and I experienced alternate states of consciousness while I encountered different higher dimensional beings. They made me aware that there's going to be a great war between what we deem good or bad, or chaos and order. And then they told me that the only thing that's going to matter is love. It's not going to be predicated on our color. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be predicated on nothing really but the love frequency and what type of resonance you're vibrating in. And I'll be delving in very deep on this September 20th and 21st, Austin, Texas. Again, this is something you don't want to miss. All right. So again, make sure you're in the building. My goddess is going to be doing a water ritual, actually showing how to connect with the water and actually communicate with the water spirits. All right. I expressed that she had a powerful transmission where Tiamat came to her, and that actually made her aware that cataclysm is coming in regards to this tumultuous society, this patriarchal system, pretty much. And that really all the things that we tend to stress about, the money matrix and everything, is going to be dumped upside down on its head. All right. And again, we all have the ability of activating this connection and speaking through these water spirits through the water. All right. Because it's primordial. It's sentient. So again,
how do I get a copy of this live? How do I get a copy?
I'm gonna send that to you, and I'm gonna tag you in it so you have the live. Yeah, I'm gonna tag you in this joint. So
can I download it?
I hope so. I hope so. This is powerful. But we're gonna do another transmission like this on your channel anyway. So make sure y'all tap into
YouTube, MahMah Tea, the official YouTube video. I'm mainly on YouTube. That's where you're gonna find me. I'm not really even on TikTok, not really on Instagram, but if you're on YouTube, hit me up on YouTube. My website is sacredtea.net. Check out the ebooks I have. Check out the music we have. I'm about to be doing some music with my brother right here. I'm about to be producing some tracks for him. I'm going to come up and support him and check out his event this September
20th and 21st.
Yeah, so it's going to be phenomenal. I love this. This was fantastic.
Ashe.
Yeah, this was dope.
Ashe. Peace, love, and light.
Woo, that was some good ass tea. Let me know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head on over to my website for ebooks, wellness, blends, music, and more. Catch you on the next one. Bye, babies. Peace, family. So you know we've been out here decoding states and tapping into these sacred codes. But now it's time to take things to the next level. That's why I created the Grid Walker Codex. This ebook is your field guide to spiritual mapping, earth gridding, leyline alignment, and working with the frequency in motion. Inside, we break down how to use your planetary placements, fix stars, asteroids, and activate your elemental grid. You learn how to work with your very own ley lines by showing you astrocartography tips and more. This is for the ones who remember, for the ones who don't just travel, they're grid walkers. So grab your copy, the Grid Walker Codex, now at sacredtea.net, and keep walking sacred. Peace.